This is the Horsepower Hour.
Yes, hello and welcome once again to the Horsepower Hour. My name is Andy. Joining me is not Coy right at the moment, but he's going to be here. Instead, we've got Aaron Samuelson sitting in second/third chair. How you doing, buddy?
Third fiddle. I'm doing well. I heard Coy lost power. Is that why he's not here?
I don't know. I know that happened to me the last time we tried to record.
I heard.
In there, buddy. We had half of a show recorded last, what was it, Monday, something like that. Anyways, doesn't matter. Yeah, I lost power and came back on, and I texted Coy and said, okay, it's back on. And then it went back out again.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we weren't down for very long, 20 minutes, but, that's long enough for me to be like, okay, well, I guess we'll just do it another day. And fortunately, you were able to join us.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, what do you know what killed your power? Alligators chewing on the lines, or?
Oh, we don't have enough alligators up here to chew through the lines. We do have a little bit of an open area where thunderstorms like to get down and clown around. So I'm guessing something was struck by lightning. It is not an uncommonality here.
Gotcha.
Well, Aaron, you're of course the host of the Off-Road Podcast. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm one of three hosts on the Off-Road Podcast, where we talk about all things off-road, whether it's overlanding or rock crawling or just family camping in a camp trailer or something like that. Day trips,
crawling snow piles in mall parking lots.
Yep, absolutely. Curb parking. Don't forget curb parking, and visits to Home Depot.
Yes, exactly. I always love trying to get those couple of bags of cement that I needed to buy up into the chest height bed because I've got a 8-inch lift on my F-150,
Well, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do with trucks, is make them unusable as trucks.
Yes, exactly. I'll tell you, dude, now that I'm in Florida, I see the, what's it called? Carolina squat, an awful lot.
I tell you what, though, I mean, that's got to make it easy to load your cement bags.
Also easy to unload because
there you go.
You're getting up on curbs. You get up on a curb and it just slides right out the back. Yeah. Street tires maybe thing here.
Yeah.
Street tires with big lifts. It seems so counterintuitive to me. Of course, growing up in Oregon, I'm used to big, fat, bulbous balloon mud tires on a 15-inch rim on a straight axle Toyota pickup with leaf springs that are in a U shape. And you get here and everybody's got like underglows and air ride, and they'll drop the back down to do the Carolina squat. It's just a whole different culture here. You know what I mean?
Definitely a different culture.
And by the way, if you guys are looking to be cultured, then you need to keep checking out this podcast. Go over to facebook.com/the Horsepower Hour. Go to anywhere you find any of your fine podcasts. You'll find both the Off-Road Podcast and the Horsepower Hour. Please do give us a like, give us a subscribe. It really means a lot to us, and we do appreciate you for doing that. Well, Aaron, I kind of want to just jump right into the news. I know Coy isn't here yet, and so I'm going to regale you with the story real quick. It's not any big secret. We were rear-ended by a drunk driver 2.5 years ago, popped a couple discs in my neck. I've got a brain injury from it, yada, yada. There's just nothing that can really be done about that. We have been in contact with a lawyer. We pretty much got it right off the bat. And it's a good thing we did, because the insurance company's lawyer was a real fun treat for me, So I'm going to do a little bit of role play with you. Are you ready for this? So you're going to play me, and I'm going to play the insurance company's lawyer. Okay.
All right.
So Mr. So-called Andrew, if that is your real name, you're alleging that our client hit you and may have caused some type of damage. What is your proof of this?
Well, they were drunk, right?
Hearsay. You will strike that from the record. How dare you? Hearsay. Now, Mr. So-called Andrew, if that is your real name, have you ever been in the hospital for anything in your life period?
Let's see. I was born in a hospital.
Ha! Gotcha, bitch. You get nothing, you lying scum. And that's, pretty much where we landed with the talk with their insurance company. It was good. It was deposition. They're going to have to pay my medical bills. I mean, there's just nothing. There's no way they can't, but it certainly is not going to be some big payout from all of this. Insurance companies are a lot like contractors or strippers in that, they will sell you what they need to sell you, and then they hope they never see you or hear from you again.
I hate insurance companies. Hate them. Hate them so much. I just in my Facebook timeline today, I was reminded of when I got hit by a girl who had a driver's license for 14 days. It's pretty awesome. She stopped at a stop sign and then proceeded to go, thinking that it was a all-way stop, but it was a through street for me, and I couldn't swerve fast enough and just hammered the back of my truck. But anyways, yeah, insurance companies are of the devil.
Also lawyers, and then you combine the two, insurance company lawyers, holy smokes. I don't even know
Yes.
these people, they must not sleep at night. Like they must just, feed off of the blood of children and just keep going until they turn into a golem at some point.
Yeah.
They're just, I don't understand how you can sit there and look somebody in the face and be like, yeah, no, your life is ruined. That's only worth this much. That's the policy limit. Sorry.
I wonder if those type of people do more drugs in society or have higher suicide rates in society. They've got to do something to make themselves feel better or to get rid of that guilt and shame.
Yeah. Well, I would sure think so. I would hope so. But I mean, who knows? I mean, these days people will do just about anything. And I mean, being a lawyer, making real good money. And if you're saving your company money, then you're making yourself money. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably a two-way street, but it's just been a real whirlwind of kind of bizarre, they're wanting all of my medical records from 5 years ago, 10 years ago. They want to know if I've ever been in counseling. And I'm just like, what? Why would you need any of this? Because the thing that most people try to do after a car accident, apparently, I just found this out. They try to claim anxiety and depression. And I haven't gone into this with any anxiety and depression. And so he's trying to run stuff down that he can throw on me. Like, do I have any medical records ever where I talk about being depressed? I'm sure I've been depressed about stuff in my life. I've had shoulder surgery. I've had wrist surgery twice. I've had knee surgery, foot surgery. So, I mean, there's times in my life where I have been at the hospital and been depressed. But this time around, I'm not quite as depressed as I am just in chronic pain from 2 ruptured discs in my neck. So, ipso facto, did I have those before the accident? No, I did not. Do I have them now? Yes, I do. Like, this seems pretty cut and dried. I can't believe that we've had months of them trying to dig up information on me that frankly is not going to exist,
Yeah, that's victim shaming is what they call that out there in the progressive sphere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's, again, once you start dealing with lawyers, that's the way the cookie crumbles. What's been your worst car accident? Was it getting hit by that girl?
I haven't really had much as far. That's probably the worst accident I've had as a driver. But my first accident was I came out to my car and someone had rear-ended it in the middle of the night and hit it so hard it pushed it into the front of our 73 Ford Ranchero. So it smashed the back and smashed the front, totally totaled it out. It was my favorite car back, at least back then. It was a 1997 Mercury. It was the Ford Escort station wagon. Why can't I think of what the Mercury Tracer? Yeah, Mercury Tracer. Loved my station wagons back then. Not sure if I lost you. You're frozen. Is it me? Not sure what's going on, if it's me or not. Am I running the show?
You still there, Aaron?
I'm here. Did I lose you or did you lose me?
I think we might have both lost at the same time. Anyways, please continue.
Oh boy. I don't know where I left off, but I had a Mercury Mercury Tracer station wagon that someone rear-ended out in front of my house and totaled it while it sat in front of my house. And it was a hit and run. We came out in the morning and it was totaled. So that sucked. And the insurance company hosed me on that one. Hosed me.
Oh man. My nephew had something almost identical to that happen. He's living in Eugene now, and his car was parked on the side of the road. It was a Civic SI. I'm trying to remember. I think it was 2006 or 7. It was the good one. It was the one that was like the clone of the RSX Type S. And he came out one morning, and something had sideswiped about 4 cars and then rolled over. And it was a Subaru Legacy Outback that had just sideswiped 4 cars, ruining virtually all of them, and then flipped when it hit that last one. It was the craziest thing. And I remember coming down, he called me that morning at like, I don't know, 5:30 in the morning because he had to leave for work. And he's like, dude, I have no idea what to do. Please come and help me. So I drove down there from Albany to try to help him get it sorted out and make the police report and insurance claim and all that other stuff. It's just one of those weird things. Like, you know me, I like my booze. I'm a bourbon guy, but I would never drive after having any significant amount. Like the risk that you put on yourself, you know, as well as others. I mean, people always talk about the risk for others and how it's irresponsible for you to do it to others. And I'm not trying to minimize that, but at the same time, I mean, if you get caught, even if you haven't hurt anybody, that's a game changer, and that could potentially be a life ruiner. And it's just crazy to me that people are still willing to take that risk.
Yeah.
All right.
Darwin asks if I got a haircut. I didn't get a haircut. I put some Rogaine in, and look at that. I'm getting some new growth up here.
Ooh. Roasting Coy while he's not here. Not cool, man. Not cool. That's a party foul. That is a party foul. Speaking of party fouls, I do want to talk about our first news article. Okay. The 2,000 horsepower Drako Dragon makes case for being least hinged electric SUV ever. Now, when Coy and I were talking about this the other day, 2,000 horsepower, and what they're saying is a 1.9 second 0 to 60, which means you're essentially exerting 1.5 G's of acceleration on your body in that 0 to 60 sprint. That is the craziest thing to me, because when you think about how much acceleration you need in something like that, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, that was a funny car. You know, that was nothing but the most exotic of the exotic, and not road cars. We're talking race cars, F1 cars, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing production cars, the Tesla Model S Plaid, for example, the Tesla Model X, whatever nomenclature, to have the dual motors and the big batteries and stuff like that. They're all seeing these kind of hypercar-ish numbers. Now, for the most part, electric cars, production electric vehicles, they have a pretty hard cap when it comes to their top speed, because if you're doing a top speed run, you could run the risk of overheating the batteries and overheating the motors and all of the other stuff. But Drako is claiming that their Dragon is going to be 200 mile per hour capable.
Yeah, that's the first I've ever heard of an electric vehicle going that fast.
I think it's a bit ambitious personally. However, they've already made another vehicle, the GTE, that had really, really incredible performance claims as well. 2.5 seconds to the 60, it'd do 160 miles an hour. And even though they only sold 25 of those vehicles, they're still out there, and people have seen the limits of these, and they're very high. And so if someone's going to be able to do it, it sounds like this might be the company.
I'm confused because they're calling this an SUV, right?
Right.
There's only 4 pictures. It's a fastback, whatever it is. It has 2 doors. They must be really long gull wing doors. And it says it seats 5 people. So, I mean, it's not like a 2+2 sports coupe or something. So, they're really not showing us a lot in these pictures, but I'm curious about the interior of this for how it fits 5 people with this layout.
Here's what's going to happen. It'll fit 2 adults comfortably or 5 midgets crowded.
Yeah.
You know how it goes with some of these cars where you look at the back seat, the 350Z, for example. The back seat's terrible. Like, you better not have knees if you're going to get in the back of that thing. And so this could definitely be one of those situations, but for the kind of money that we're going to be looking at for this. So previously the Drako GTE electric car, they got $1.25 million for those. So this one, you got to imagine $1.75 $2 million maybe for one of these, and they're going to be super limited production run. And so obviously anybody buying these isn't going to care about the rear seats, but you do bring up a good point. Would a manufacturer like this still try to add some creature comforts and leg room and aesthetic? You know, the only argument I'm going to make for it not being really usable in the back seats is because of how sloped this back is. And these are renders, and so the dimensions of the vehicle could be completely different. But with me looking at this, and I'm not that tall, I'm 5'10", or wait, I used to be 5'10" before the car accident. Now I'm 5'9".
Before you ruptured those discs,
all on my own with no help from that drunk woman. This body line tells me that there's not going to be a whole lot of headroom. That's just my own personal opinion. Darwin Bonk says 350Z back seat equals no knees or a neck. That's 100% what I'm saying. And so this one looks like it's pretty much going to be the same to me.
I hope Mr. Beast, you know who Mr. Beast is?
I actually had a pretty good Mr. Beast impression that I was working on with my nephew.
I hope Mr. Beast buys at least one of these and then goes to like a hospital that they deal with like amputee people and picks up a bunch of people with no legs to drive them around. I think that'd be a great promotional video for him.
Boy, he'd be killing 2 birds with 1 amputation.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Here, you need to do the chipmunk teeth. Hey, everybody. I'm Mr. Beast, and today we're going to be giving away the $2 million Waco Dragon to someone in the inner city.
And it's okay. It's all right. I can make fun of amputee people because I know somebody that's missing a leg.
Yeah, exactly. I can make fun of amputees because I'm circumcised.
Your 3rd leg has been amputated.
I'll tell you what, if Mr. Beast is going to go into some small town and give away cars, I think he should turn his gaze to the new Hyundai Ioniq 6.
Man, Hyundai's killing it with their lineup lately.
Dude, the Ioniq 5 last year won 3 awards, including Car of the Year at the New York International Motor Show. So, I mean, they're actually putting out some really, really decent stuff. When you think electric car that you're just going to buy and use as your family car, everybody's got Tesla on the mind, right? But the more I look at some of these Hyundai electric vehicles, the more I'm like, wow, they're really doing something right. And now for the listeners at home, of course, we have all of these links available underneath of the podcast. You just have to go and click on the link and you can see exactly what we're seeing. Aaron, I wish they had more photos of this. They've only got that back 3/4 view, but I like it a lot. It's got a little bit of like a, I really shouldn't say this, like a new VW Beetle style in the back, but it looks better to me. I like the kind of bulged look of the wheel wells. I like how the fenders flow into the doors. It's just this is a really, really good looking back 3/4 of the car. But you know how we were just talking about the leg room in the back of that Drako Dragon? I'm worried about headroom. Look at how much this slopes, man.
I feel like this goes farther back before it takes that dive, but I think they ripped this design off from somebody. If you ignore the tail lights and that lift gate and the rear bumper, that's like a early to mid 2000s Mercedes CLS sedan. Well, they call it a coupe, but it's a 4-door.
Ooh, you're right. Wow.
It's got like the rainbow shaped body line. It's got the coupe, 4-door coupe roof. Yeah, you look that up and look at it from a 3/4 view from the back, and that's the first thing I thought of. And because I thought those cars were really sexy back in the day. It was the start of the 4-door coupes back then.
You might be onto something. No, not Google Lens. I just updated all of my stuff, all my Chrome and everything, and I don't know how to use the buttons. Here we go. Look at that,
There
folks.
it is. Yeah.
Wow. You are not wrong. The resemblance is striking.
It's like they carried the roof line back a little bit farther to give people a little more headroom back there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, I, for one, am pretty excited about this one because it looks good. It looks sporty. We don't have any figures yet for what they're thinking that it's going to be as far as horsepower, range, or anything like that. But Hyundai's got a formula. Their cars are going 300 miles, 350 miles between charges. So, I mean, it of course is going to be somewhere right in there. Now, this is a little bit sporty looking to me. And so it does kind of make me wonder if they're going to try to do any of the performance electric stuff, sort of like the bill of goods we were sold with the Mustang Mach-E, but didn't quite come to fruition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or is this just purely going to be a family car?
It looks family, but it looks like it's leaning towards that it'd be like the GT version of their Ionq, or I don't I and how do you pronounce that?
Ionic.
Ionic. It's
Jake
not just
Jaden
Ion.
says- that's right. Jake Jaden says it looks like a squished Previa. He said Pevia, but I'm going to assume he means Previa. And Jake isn't wrong. But yeah, this makes me excited. I mean, I've not traditionally been excited about electric vehicles, and you know that as well as I do. It's no surprise to anyone here. But as car guys, and we've had this conversation before, Aaron, as car guys, we're about speed and horsepower, and electricity gives you those things in abundance. It's just, all of the other ancillary stuff that we worry about. But I have good news. There are still some manufacturers that are working hard to make sure that we've got some really cool and really quick gasoline powered stuff, man. This new Steeda package for the Ford F-150, they call it their Thunder Edition. And I'm telling you, dude, I am loving these more and more and more. These manufacturers that are taking a standard cab, short bed F-150 and either giving it the EcoBoost treatment, they'll get up 400, 450 horsepower with, the right bolt-on mods, or the Coyote powered trucks. And it's just to the moon with some of this stuff. The Steeda F-150 Thunder Edition, they say that this Thunder package has 775 horsepower. Are you kidding me?
That's where it needs to start for horsepower. I mean, it's definitely going to be lighter because it's just a standard cab and it's a short bed and it's all aluminum. So it probably saved 500 pounds, 400 to 500 pounds in weight. but I feel like that's a start. I mean, I like 750, don't get me wrong. And I'm super excited when I was reading these stats that they went with the 5.0 Coyote motor.
Mhm.
I was a little afraid that they were going to do the 3.5 EcoBoost because it's so easy to get power with that thing, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, but these Coyote engines, they are ridiculous and they're so capable. And I'm just going to point something out real quick. Steeda powertrain upgrades. It says the Steeda Whipple 5-liter Gen 5X Stage 2 supercharger system. And we've been car guys long enough to know that stage 2 is not your last stage. You don't just have stage 1 and stage 2. You've got stage 3, 4, and 5. You don't stop at 2. That's my
No.
point. Like if you only had 2 options, you would find some minor upgrade to 1 to make it a 2 so that you have 3, because no one's going to say, "Oh, I got stage 2," and be proud of it. They need to be able to say, "I have a stage 3 or higher," unless you're in a Subaru and then you're like, "I'm stage 13."
Yeah, they kind of went ridiculous with Subarus.
Yeah, they went crazy. They went crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna let Ford off of the hook, by the way. There's a company that makes short blocks and long blocks for them, and they go up to like stage 9X, I think. And the X is different from the 9. And so, hey, and don't even again, like I'm not trying to get off track here, but those are 1200 horsepower capable engines. So, you've got the stages, and I understand that. Oh, IAG, um the engine building company, they do that with Subarus. They've got it's when I look at their catalog, it's the silliest thing to me because they're like, this motor's good for 350 horsepower, this one's good for 375 horsepower, this one's good for 425, and on and on and on, so you get to that 1100 horsepower, and each of them have stages.
I feel like we could cut about 5 of those out.
Sure. What's the point? I want to
Yeah.
make 350 horsepower. Okay, get our 500 horsepower block. I want to make 600 horsepower. Okay, get our 900 horsepower block.
Mm-hmm.
How much
That's just,
difference could there really be?
it's too many things to keep track, use to deal with. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fact. But I'll tell you, dude, this is going to be one nutty, nutty vehicle. The only thing that I kind of wish was here that I don't see on the list, although now that I'm thinking about it, they'd probably be able to do it to a 2-wheel drive or a 4-wheel drive. Because when you get these in 4-wheel drive and you start bumping up the power, that's when you start seeing some real wacky stuff. I mean, there's dudes out there that have 4-wheel drive F-150s, both EcoBoost and 5.0, that have them cranked way, way up, and they take them to the track and they're running 10s. And it's just like, you're running 10s in a lowered full-sized pickup. It blows my mind.
It's a good looking truck. I am sad that Ford chose Lightning, and I get it. It's electrical, but I am sad that they chose that namesake to push their all electric truck. I wish
Yeah.
Ford would have continued to make these.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. There's a market for these street trucks, and I really truly believe that, and I think
Mhm.
we've seen that just in the aftermarket alone. Hell, I mean,
Yeah.
you can even see it at the dealership. There are some dealers, not around here local to me, but in like Miami and Tampa, where I have seen not builds like this, but they get a standard cab, short bed, uh, with the Coyote motor, and they lower it and put it on some wheels and tires, and then they sell it as a street truck edition. Maybe they'll put some graphics on it or whatever, and it's all dealership stuff that they're doing. But those sell, man. People want them.
Mm-hmm. I I'm curious. I wonder, because there hasn't been a Ford Lightning for a long time, if Ford had a Lightning during this whole time that we've had a Raptor, how many people would have bought the Lightning over the Raptor? Because you see so many of those Raptors just as daily drivers. I bet you people would have bought a Lightning instead of a Raptor and probably had more street performance than everything else. I really believe in the market for that.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I think Steed is really onto something here. Now, I haven't priced this package out. So let's just take a couple of really wild gambles out into thin air. You ready to do this?
Yeah. Oh boy.
I'm going to say 67,000 all in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's for about a $40,000 truck, and then all of the upgrades that they do that are all being professionally installed by Steeda.
You know what's $67,000 right now? A Toyota Tundra TRD. 67,000. You know what's $78,000 right now? The
What?
Toyota Sequoia TRD.
I didn't realize that. Wow.
Yeah, we just covered that last week in our podcast. We were talking about the Sequoia, and we got to the price, and it's like, who's going to pay $78,000 for a Toyota Sequoia? An off-road Toyota. Anyway, people will pay it. They'll pay it. They'll buy it. So I was thinking more like 85 for that truck.
You could be right. I guess I'm just looking at it from the point of this is technically a base model truck, and even with all the markups that are going on here, I wouldn't expect that to be more than 40,000 for Steeda to buy. And then with all of the different upgrades and everything, we don't need to go through all of them, but all of it's double adjustable QA1 coilovers.
Mm-hmm.
It's got some kind of performance suspension. I mean, I could easily just look at that and say that's probably $5,000. The Steeda powertrain upgrades, I can easily say 7,000 or 8,000 for those. Wheel and tire setup, that could easily be $2,500. So I'm just adding all of these things on, and then pretty much double that cost because you are getting a professional installation from this company that just has these packages ready to go.
And some sort of warranty, I'm sure.
Yeah, they'd have to. It won't be a manufacturer warranty for 5 years, 50,000 miles, but it'll be, they'll give you 6 months or a year, like a lot of these modded vehicles are. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I'm too far off, but now I think I'm going to need to call them and see if I can get a quote for this because I'm honestly really curious now. Jake is saying, I missed the beginning of, you mentioned it. Where's Coy? Coy is being held up. He's possibly selling a car right now, but we're in communication with him. He's not dead. He's just negotiating still. He'll be with us here in a little bit.
I just did a quick Google, and the MSRP for a Steeda F-150 Thunder is $34,000 plus the price for the base F-150. So you might be a little closer than me.
Could be closer. That might be. We're probably looking at more like 70 to 75,000 then, with the way prices are now. Because my number would make more sense a year ago before car prices started going just absolutely bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting though. That's really interesting. And honestly, probably not even a bad price.
$34,000. Yeah. I wonder if it has to be a new vehicle or if you could be like, well, it's I've had it for 2 years. Bring it in and have it massage it a little.
Hey, if I was Steeda, I would say, why not? It's certainly not going to come with a warranty or anything like that. But if you're putting it on a brand new vehicle, I could see it. Coy Fordcus is here. How you doing, buddy?
Hello.
Are you a car lighter?
I'm a car lighter and also about 30 chickens lighter.
Ooh, nice. Congratulations.
That's, yes.
30 gone, 250 left. Nice job, buddy.
Pretty much.
So, Coy, we were just talking about the Steeda F-150 Thunder.
Yes.
And I don't know if you heard what Aaron said, but he said that the package is just shy of 35,000, right, Aaron?
Yeah, $34,000 for the package on top of the cost of the truck.
Yeah, so whichever truck you buy and give over to Steeda, it's another 34,000 on top of that, which I think with prices right now would put you right in the 70 to 75,000 range. And then, Aaron, I apologize, you're going to have to maybe repeat this for Coy, but what did you say the new Sequoia is going for?
Oh, Coy was on last week on our podcast, and it was a riot, by the way. But yeah, the new Sequoia, I believe, is $78,000.
Do
Not
you really
bad.
want a Sequoia, or do you want a 775 horsepower short bed pickup?
I'll take the 775 horsepower short bed pickup for that price. Sequoia is cool. It's a wheeler or whatever, or could be at that kind of price. I don't know that I have the testicular fortitude to take my $78,000 vehicle off road. And it's not like it's a Raptor Bronco that's for sure off road. Like I could really mess this up pretty easily. So
Yeah.
that kind of money. I got to go with the F-150.
Well, and you could just sell those 200 chickens, and the proceeds from that can buy you a wheeler.
Yeah, the hard profits that I make from raising chickens. And yeah,
It's not actually called profit, Koi. It's called a break even.
Yeah. Oh, Darwin, that is a great dad joke.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
New owners can say they bought a chicken coop because you were selling a Scion TC. Wow, that is the daddiest of dad jokes ever. You know what? That puts me in the mood to hear some of your dad jokes about this next article, boys. Supreme Court limits EPA authority to set climate standards for power plants. Now, why should that mean anything to us, you might ask? I'll tell you. What this does is it sets a precedent that says the EPA does not have the authority to put laws and regulation into practice without going through the House and the Senate and having it voted on. It essentially is going to start nullifying a lot of the regulations that the EPA has put in for us car guys. You remember the RPM Act? It is officially effectively on hold, and I would say possibly even squashed because of this Supreme Court ruling, because now this leaves them open to all kinds of scrutiny for all of the regulations that they've been putting into practice for the last 15 years.
So my question is, the people that actually got like $50,000 fines through the EPA for breaking the RPM Act, do they get their money back with interest? Like,
Fat chance.
Hell no.
that's kind of like the guys that went to prison for weed, a year before they legalized it. It's like, yeah, you still broke the law then.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're still screwed, because we're not talking about now. We're talking about back when you did it and it was illegal. Oh yeah. Yeah. I have no doubt in my mind that they're going to keep trying to screw people over on this stuff, but it's good that we at least have a thumbnail's width to start wiggling our greasy little fingers in there to tell them to stay out of our stuff. You can literally suck all of my dangly parts because you've now been ruled that you don't have this authority that you've been pushing in my face, and we're done with all of that. Now, is there going to be enough people to nut up and do that? I don't know. Could we see some class action lawsuits if people started getting together? You know what I mean?
I hope so.
I think the RPM Act is already, even them setting these new rules, it's already done its damage. Because I mean, there's several different places that I would like to say I buy parts from, but I watch the parts that they have and would like to buy them. But like one guy made a swap header, and he ended up it was a nice like long tube sweet header. He ended up completely redoing it, sold those out, and now he does more of a log style header with a V-band mount so that you can put a catalytic converter on it, just because he couldn't afford to piss off the EPA and catch a $50,000 fine when this is just basically a hobby that he makes almost no money at.
Right.
So how many hundreds of guys actually haven't developed parts, or only developed a part and then, sold it to a couple buddies or something because of that? I'm guessing it's a lot.
I had some exhaust leaks in my Nissan Frontier, and my truck, when I did the V8 swap, got some headers and no cats. I'm in a county that doesn't require emissions testing, so I've got a really free-flowing exhaust. So I had a couple exhaust leaks, and I called around, and multiple shops turned me down to work on my vehicle because it had no cats. They said, we don't even want it on the property. Don't pull in here. If the EPA shows up and sees this vehicle on our property, even if we're not working on it, we will get fined $50,000.
Holy crap. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so ridiculous. And what it is pure intimidation. I mean, that's how a lot of these government programs have been for years and years. They introduce something and then they just sort of impose it. And then you're left holding the bag, and you have to change the way you're doing things just purely from the threat of it happening to you.
Yeah. Nobody's willing to risk it and challenge. So it practically becomes law.
You can't tell me that they didn't go after high profile YouTubers right off the bat with this because they wanted to spread the message. I mean, absolutely 100%. They jumped on some really high profile people, got buzz around it, and that's like what do you call that? A propaganda warfare? I mean, because you already know that you doing that is going to get your message across.
So has anybody talked to Cobb Access Port yet?
Not yet. Don't know. I doubt it would be good if they reverted, but I don't think they're going to, because this threat is still looming. I mean, while all of this is getting figured out, the EPA is still going to be trying to enforce the things they already have on the books. And so, we're not out of the woods yet. Like I said, I think it's going to take a class action lawsuit or two for them to really get the message.
Yeah, I agree, but I think it's done irreversible damage already. That's why I think right now we should start building like new tunes and speed controllers for electric vehicles, so that they get the equivalent of like 4 miles to the gallon, but like 9,000 horsepower. Instead of giant like Ricer wings, we'll have giant Ricer heat sinks across the back of the car.
I like that plan.
And just be like, fine, EPA, fine. You made me do this. I didn't even want to do this.
I didn't want
to buy a 2003 Prius and build a custom speed controller and retune it and add 19 pounds of lithium batteries and capacitors and all kinds of stuff and make this thing run 11s. It's on you.
You forced his hand, EPA. You forced Coy's hand, and you're not going to like Coy when he's mad. Coy, we actually have something that's going to make you glad, or at least I hope it's going to make you glad. You sent me our Olaf, so let's check that out. Overland is fucked! So what do we got going on, buddy?
Bro, it's a Kickstarter. What's more overland than a Kickstarter product? You know what I'm saying? This is the crosswing made by Kamik. I'm not sure how they say the name. They are saying that they are the fastest deploying car awning. We probably don't need to play the video, but if you're looking at the picture here, it's an awning with an X frame. You literally just push and, click in, pull out, push in. It's supposed to be able to withstand wind and things, even though it doesn't look like it to me. It self coils up. So as you push it in, it self retracts that awning.
All right, we're watching a quick video just with the sound off because I do not want to get copy struck.
Again.
I don't want to do this episode a third time.
That little ratcheting there is how you tighten it.
Look at the wind on it.
I know. I like I said, I have my doubts. That's comparing it to an old style one here and there. They're going nuts and yeah.
Oh my goodness. Those infomercials where people are just like throwing bowls of chili on their heads.
Yeah, just like, I don't know how to strain spaghetti. Oh, it's on my head. Yeah. White people just being the dumbest ever.
Yeah, that's exactly what they just did with that quote unquote old style of
one of my favorite ones. They're advertising some kind of 1999 ear canal cleaner, and it like shows a person with a Q-tip, and they just put it in their ear at like Mach 7, just slam it into their brain. They're like, oh, like, I don't know how many times in your life you've stuck a Q-tip in your ear and just been like, screaming ow because you just slammed it through your eardrum. Like, I can think of only like 4. So, yeah.
Yeah, you choking yourself with your toothbrush, that doesn't count. That's not the same.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it looks pretty cool, and yeah, it does just retract straight back up and closes itself in, which, by the way, everybody, not that you don't already know this, but just why you will need to pull that thing back out and let it dry unless you want to get it molded.
It is actually supposed to be made of a mildew mold proof material, so you don't have to worry about that, supposedly.
Hmm.
I mean, it does look pretty slick. I just have doubts about wind and freestanding and all that stuff. You know what I mean? What do you think, Aaron? Fellow overlord.
Yeah. I regretted every single purchase I've bought from Kickstarter, all one of them. And this thing, oh, here we go. They've got a leaf blower. Yeah, look at that thing hold up to a leaf blower that's not even blowing at the thing. This thing looks super fragile, califragilistic expialidocious. I mean,
How much
there's
how
no
much snow
way.
load do you think it can handle?
Zero. I mean,
How long before that thing just folds right to the side?
yeah. And when it folds, there's no fixing it. Where the traditional one, you break a leg, you can replace a leg in the traditional ones.
And at least if you break something on a traditional one, you can still roll that all up and get it back in and stowed. Whereas this,
Yeah, it's
I
not
don't.
thought.
I think, yeah, this is like you ever have one of those 10 by 10 awnings go apart on you? It doesn't go back together. Like you just put a ratchet strap on it, strap it to the top of the car. I don't know.
Yeah.
You could say a lot of things about this product. These guys' video, like it makes me want to camp with them though. Like I'm like, these guys are fun. They like the same dumb humor as me.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you to go camping with them and not a single one of them runs that thing. And you're like, hey, how come you're not using your Kickstarter back thing?
Why are you using a shadow on? I thought you used a Cabot. This thing's trash. I got an easy on, bro. This thing's from South Africa.
All right, let's look at the prices, boys. So early bird is $5.99, which appears to be $250 off of the normal price. So it's going to be $850 once it's out.
Yeah, $750. Right.
$750 for a 7-footer.
Yeah,
right now. So that's the other thing. The price of this is compared to a freestanding name brand awning that we know is a little tougher, like a 180. Say what is it? The Batwing. Rhino rack awning, I believe it is. Those are a lot more expensive, really. Or I mean, some of them are even in the like $1,500 range. So this is not a bad price, which just makes me think it's weak. Honestly, if this was $2,000, I'd be like, oh, it's probably super tough.
Yeah, I agree.
This price, I have my doubts.
I think the cost is because of the complexity of it and not because of the robustness of it.
Interesting, guys. I'm noticing they come in a 5-foot and a 7-foot. They were, of course, showing the 7-foot there, which makes me think the 5-foot is going to be good for about 3 hours during the day with 2 people sitting under it.
Like that's how long you'll have shade underneath it.
I'm just saying the sun moves position in the sky.
I would almost sooner get the 5-foot, because if you went across the back of your vehicle and you could just wham, pop that out, do some lunch or whatever, and just at the tailgate or whatever, you're going to be standing right there, and then you can just slap it right back in. It would make almost more sense, just a quick, easy in and out. It's not going to be up overnight. You're not going to be like camping under it.
Right.
The small one across the back of the vehicle, this actually kind of makes sense to me. But the big one, and but 7 foot's really not that big, but I don't know, man. It is overland as fuck. I'll give them that, but I'm afraid we're going to see some Instagram videos of these things wrapped around the vehicle.
Yeah. I think they're going to be really popular with the people that park in parking lots next to other overlanders, and they're like, hey man, check this out, and they roll that thing out. Let me ask you this. That's just my personal opinion. Aaron, you're obviously much more educated than I am. What do you think? Are we going to see more of these on overland rigs or more of these on parking lot queens?
I agree with you on that. You're going to see these at the Rigs and Coffee event. People are going to stretch them out. They're going to drink their triple cafe latte mocha frappuccino underneath them while they're talking about their Max tracks that they've got. And
so basically, Jake bets that you've already bought one based on that.
Yeah. I don't own any awnings. I have not joined the awning club yet. I really want to. I've actually been propositioned by a company to try one of theirs out, but I want one. I don't want one of these ones though. I don't know if you noticed at the very beginning of the video when they pulled that 7-footer out, it like tilted down because of the weight of it, the cantilevered weight out there. The 5-footer didn't as much, but the 7-footer definitely canted down to the point where the guy had to almost duck underneath it. Here it goes. Boing.
And you're right. We're watching the video again for those of you at home listening to the podcast. But yeah, it's flopping around the wind.
Maybe it's hard to say, but when that little ratcheting motion, that tightens up the fabric. So maybe once you do that, that firms everything up.
Oh, is that what he was doing as he was wiggling that back and forth?
You pull it out, and that little lever he was wiggling, that's like a ratcheting effect and rolls up the fabric a little bit and makes that all tight. So,
for me, that only adds to the OLAF certification, because when you whip that baby out and then you ratchet it tight and then you kind of whip around and look over at that fly honey just outside of your wife's vision and you wink at her and then she rolls her eyes at you, that's when you know you are overland certified.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, I would like a video of them parked snow camping and then, I don't know, just like a 5-gallon bucket sized chunk of snow comes off of a tree branch.
Off a limb?
Not dead center, just off to one side or corner, and I want to see what happens.
I don't think it would matter where it hit it.
No, I don't think it would either, but I'm just giving them, but I just wanted to catch a corner because it will
just to clip it.
If you trip somebody, that's cool, but it's better if you hook them around the neck, clothesline them and slam them down like a full, sometimes getting the far end of something's better than the middle.
True that.
This definitely would not hold up to our snow camping trips we go on.
Well, you got to do it for the gram then. It's not about the utilitarian aspect. It's about just what do you have to do for the gram. And I think you guys should run out and rent one of these so you can get photos of it and then send it back. Overland is fun. Well, you guys, we are on to our last segment of the night. It is our Deal Doob. And this one is a real fence sitter for me. I mean, it's not something I want, don't get me wrong. However, I don't actually think the price is as bad as it could be. So let's take a look at this, boys. Here's what we got. A 1999 Chevrolet Corvette convertible. It has 90,000 miles on it. Not terrible, but not the best. Seller description: custom 99 C5 Corvette, clean title in hand, 5.7 liter automatic. Drivetrain is all stock, only the body was modified. 90,000 miles once again. Starts, runs, drives perfect. Has Z06 wheels and tires with 315 wide rears.
Such a description.
And now we get to our description. Why don't you guys go ahead and take it from here? Explain to the folks at home that can't see the photos what's going on.
Did you see that lower lip is off of a late gen Camaro?
Is that
it's
what
like the bottom half? It looks like the bottom half of a bumper from a late gen Camaro. The way the headlights are cut reminds me of a old Corvair.
My question is, how much would it cost just to buy a new Corvette front end from a junkyard? Not brand new, just find one that's silver at a junkyard, bolted on.
Since the license plate in the front is bolted to the bash bar and the bash bar has been cut down to accommodate some of the strangest looking headlights I have ever seen. Can we assume that maybe there's still some mounting points? I mean, probably not, but it might not be that difficult to get a new front put on. But like you said, the headlights and hood have been cut in this weird line, and it fits this black inlay with these really, really bizarre looking headlights. Let's move around to the back, shall we? So this is pure Plymouth Prowler, 1000% to me. I'm looking at it, and that is exactly what it looks like. It's got just the single tail lights. The thing is totally bobbed at the end. Like, it doesn't even have a rear fender past the tire. The tire literally ends right where the back of the car ends. And then you have a bumper that sticks out just a little ways past that.
And that's some hefty fiberglass work there. And then I'm also noticing, so normally there'd be a hatch glass here, but he just has like a flat glass panel, almost like the back window of a pickup there.
Didn't they make some coupe versions of this car where it didn't have a hatch? It had a flat window like that.
I thought that was only the convertibles that had hard tops that mounted on them.
Okay.
Which this is a T-top.
Yes.
I'm not a vet guy. I don't know that picture there, and that just that doesn't look quite right. I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The back end of this, the guy did a lot better job than on the front end. Like this back end, like if I didn't know anything about cars and I saw the back of this, I'd be like, oh, that's a car.
Yeah, but as we all know, this car is a lot like a plastic surgeon. You don't want somebody that spends all their time in the back and none in the front. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Each their own.
I wish
Okay,
they would have opened the trunk. I wish they'd opened the trunk. I'm super curious to know how many gallons of milk you can fit in that.
One.
It'll fit approximately 2 bowling balls. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is just it's not even that hideous to me. It's very strange, and it could have been done in a much different way. And of course, you're asking yourself, why? Why would they do this? Like, there's literally no point. But the reason why this is a deal dupe for me is because at $11,000, an LS1 C5 Corvette, that's kind of right on the money. Like, if you spend any less than that, you're not going to be getting a good running and driving Corvette. I spent way longer than I should have trying to figure out what the cheapest Corvette I could readily find on the internet was that was like a runner and a driver. Real hard life Corvettes, C5s, 99 C5 LS1 Corvettes going for $9,000, $10,000, looking pretty whipped, 200,000 miles on them. This one's only got 90,000 miles on it. And yes, it's an automatic transmission, but you'd be shocked to know how many automatics are out there. Like, manuals are a little bit hard to come by. And I
bet.
I pulled this car up because, one, it could easily be a deal dupe. It's just as bizarre looking, but in all the different ways from the previous car. But this is a manual transmission. It's a 2002, but it's still an LS1. It's a manual transmission. It's got 120,000 miles on it. He's asking 11,000. And so there's a little bit of a pick your poison kind of thing going on. This one that I'm comparing our deal dupe to, it has some kind of wide body kit on it that makes it look like an NSX that's bloated on its period.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Things really don't fit in the front. Things really don't fit from the sides.
So riddle me this though. This one we're looking at, I actually don't hate that blue Corvette. It wouldn't need that much work to make it look really good. But this one here, the one thing for me, like, he did everything right except for, why doesn't this have 33-inch all-terrains on it? Why is it not an LS1 buggy? He is so close to having it as a, like, this should be a buggy, right?
Yeah,
and an
totally
11.5 and Corvette buggy, like, he already did the fiberglass work. It would have taken him hours more to make those fenders bigger and stick some 31-inch all-terrain BFGs on there.
Mm-hmm.
Fashion up a little lift kit, and and nobody would be asking, why did you do this or what did you do it for? You'd be like, oh, he made a Corvette buggy. I get it.
It's obvious. Yeah, it's clearly obvious what you did and why you did it.
Yeah, everybody would just walk by and like nod their heads and be like, wow, that looks like fun. Right now, people are walking by going, what's happening? I don't understand.
Yeah.
I didn't know
what happens when a Corvette has an abortion, but the fetus survives.
I didn't know that Andy's Autosport sold body kits for Corvettes.
Just the Durex ones.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say this car was built in like 2003, 4. I mean, that's kind of the aesthetic that it has, especially with those NSX headlights. I know that people do have those and have installed them. I mean, I've seen them on stuff before, but those headlights are just the goofiest looking things. And looking at how yellow they are, they look old. This seems like an old build. But anyways, I just wanted to kind of make a comparison. Like, what does $11,000 get you for a manual transmission C5 Corvette? And this is about the best I was able to find. So going back to this abomination that's been all chopped up, relatively speaking, it feels like a little bit of a toss-up for me. If you were going to tell me, hey, which of these are you going to take the keys to, I might be more inclined to the manual because that's just me. But this one that's been chopped and bobbed, I would argue is in quite a bit better condition.
100%.
I mean, saying it's in better condition is a weird way to frame it, honestly. But I get what you're saying.
Well, that other one looked like it belonged to a drug dealer in the hood. Like it's what he drove around to pick up his cash from his.
I wouldn't even say drug dealer. I would say a Coke dealer.
A Coke dealer specifically?
Like it's specifically a Coke fueled ride.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that blue one.
You probably haven't done any good Coke, Aaron, but let me tell you, it is amazing. If somebody offers you good Coke, do not say no. Unless you're a child, obviously. If you're under 18 listening, then say no, but take it for me. Mail it.
The best Coke I've ever had is the Mexican Coke in the glass bottles. So
yeah.
That's right. It's definitely the Mexican Coke.
I've never had Colombian Pepsi before, so I'm gonna have to take your guys' word for it.
Yeah. Well,
all right, we've gone on long enough with this. Let's go ahead and get our thoughts here. And Aaron, you remember how it goes. What do you think it's going to sell for? What would your price be to pick this thing up? Coy, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll do it. If this was a manual, I would say he's going to get his asking price if it was a manual, just because as it sits, I don't know that anybody necessarily wants it, but as a donor car for a kit car with full suspension, a manual transmission, everything, I feel like it would be a good price, you know, if you're using this car like the Indians use a Buffalo type thing.
Yes, yeah.
With the automatic transmission, I think 9's where he's going to sell this for me.
You think so?
Dude, there's going to be some guy that's getting into drifting and realizes for $9,000 he could have this car, and he's going to go nuts. Like he'll swap it. You can get a clapped out 240 with a SR20 swap with 100,000 miles on the swap and 200,000 on the body for about this same price. So I think this is going to end up being a drift car, and maybe that's what happened to this originally. It was a drift car. That's why there's, debatably was body damage on both ends.
That's a good point.
For me, though, the personal price, this is at my neighbor's. I have no want for this car, except for, like I said, this needs to be turned into a buggy. Like, I feel like for $5,000, this is at my neighbor's house. I know I could part it and make my money back, but I could probably pick up some used all-season or all-terrains or even mud terrains and have a good time before I part it. The automatic transmissions is not going to bother me as a buggy. I would rather it be a manual, but I will make do. So I will. I might be the only Corvette at the Gambler. You know what I mean? But for $5,000, I think I have to take it off my neighbor's hands if it's a runner with 90,000.
Aaron, why don't you take up the next spot? What do you think, bud?
I hate to sound like I'm beating a dead horse here, but $9,000 is what I was thinking as well. I wish you would have picked me first so Koi could have copied me instead of me copying Koi. But yeah, 9K is where I'm thinking it's going to sell to. And for me, I was thinking $4,500 to buy it, and I would totally race this in like Chump Car or Lucky Dog or something like that as is.
I would literally fight you in the pits if you showed up to this with a Chump Car race. I'd be like, no, that's not how it works.
No, well, Chump and Lucky Dog have, or maybe at least Lucky Dog has rules that allow cars like this. So
They allow Zeo.
it's not a Z06. It's not a Z06. It has Z06 wheels.
C5. Sorry.
Yeah.
You crush everything. I would fight you.
No, they've got different. They have. I think I haven't looked at Lucky Dog in like 4 years now, but 4 years ago they had 3 different levels of.
Yeah, Lucky Dog does have a more competitive classes and stuff, but Chump Car, I feel like you roll this, you throw a cage in this, take it to Chump Car, you're just going to crush everyone all day.
Yes, you would. Yeah. And I wouldn't feel bad about throwing a cage in this car at all.
And I wouldn't feel bad slamming
it may be an exo
like piece of crap car.
I was gonna say I may have to put an exo cage on it to keep people from rubbing.
Oh,
not my fiberglass work.
I've never brake checked somebody at the track, but I would this straight up. Oh, I had a failure.
Oh man, my brake's locked up.
Darwin Bonk has a really good one. If blue is a result of Coke, bath salts is for the silver one. He's 100% right. Now, having said that, you guys, normally I'm a little bit more of a naysayer, but with this one, my numbers are actually a bit more optimistic than yours, surprisingly. I think that he might get 10,000 for this. I'm not saying he's going to get his full price, but I think 10 grand. There is, look, I don't know how many, YouTube celebrities are in Crooksville, Ohio. I'm assuming not very many, but like if this was anywhere near the Freedom Factory, you know that Cletus McFarland would be buying this thing instantly, or one of his other boys. If this thing was anywhere near where the Street Outlaw guys, farm truck and the other one, if this was anywhere near them, they'd be buying it and putting a 500 shot of nitrous on it, So I think that there's some palatability here, just because it's still a very fast, very capable Corvette. It's just ugly as sin, and it would probably get you a lot of internet clout, a lot of e-fame. And so if it sells to the right person, I could see them doing that. Now, I could be completely off base. My buy it now number might actually be 6,000. I'm going higher than you guys, because once again, it is a full-blown Corvette. I mean, it's got all the parts. It looks ugly, but as long as he hasn't screwed around with the suspension or drivetrain or anything like that, I think it'd be worth every bit of 6,000 for me. But as you guys know, that's never the end of the story. We want to hear from all of you that are tuning in. Is it a deal? Is it a do? What's your number going to be on this thing? Or what do you think it's going to sell for? We always want to know. We're always curious. So do please leave those comments underneath. We've already gotten a couple. Jake says he wouldn't walk away for $6,000. That's exactly what I'm feeling like. But let us know your number. Maybe you're a Corvette expert, and this is some kind of body kit that was wildly popular in the late 90s. I'm just, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying if that's a possibility, I would love for you guys to let us know. But for right now, that is our smoking deal or smoking a do.
Smoking deal or smoking adobe.
All right, fellas, this has been really an interesting episode, especially since Coy wasn't here for about, I don't know, 3/4 of it.
Yeah.
2/3.
You're welcome. Yeah. I do what I can.
Hey, but you sold that car, buddy. That's the important part. Aaron, a blast as always. Thank you so much for jumping in on this one, man. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, we are I almost said the Horsepower Hour. We are the Off-Road Podcast, and we're on Facebook and Instagram, and I think we got a Twitter out there somewhere. If you guys check our Twitter, don't be sad. We don't do anything there. And we're also on YouTube. And we go live every Monday night at 7:00 Pacific Standard Time. That's the West Coast. We go live every Monday at 7:00. Although we missed the 4th of July, we spent some time with our quality time with our family. So you'll have to forgive us for only doing 51 episodes this year.
Hey, good man. You're on a better track than we are. So you're doing all right. Coy, where can people find you, buddy?
You can find me on all the Horsepower Hour pages, Instagram, Facebook. Send me a message to the Facebook group or the Facebook page, and just call me out, and I'll answer.
Yeah, especially if you disagree with Coy, he is ready to fight. Like, he is ready to throw hands. So
Just
please.
tag me. Honestly, I love being tagged.
Yeah,
Tag you back.
he's just waiting. He's praying. Use that poke. Doesn't Facebook still have the poke?
I don't know. We're going to find out tonight.
All right. Anyways, listen, everyone that tuned in, we thank you for doing that. We thank you for telling a friend. We really do appreciate it. It is what keeps the wind in our sails, and we love you for it. Coy, Aaron, thank you guys so much. And for Coy and Aaron, this is Andy. We will see you next time.